Hey, this is Hayden, and in this video, I want to discuss with you why Valentus is one of the best businesses I've seen in the last 26 years. Now, I'm going to be brutally honest with you and tell you that I was totally not interested in Valentus when I first looked at it. Nothing about it excited me enough to dig really deep into it and learn the ins and outs. And it wasn't until my business partner actually sat me down and pointed out the power of Valentus that I got fired up about it. And if truth be told, I actually procrastinated for 6 months before I actually engaged. You see, I've got my own business and I was not looking to get into any network marketing business at all. In fact, the last company I was involved with was New Skin back in 1993. And the reason that I've stayed away so long is because I believe to my core that most MLMs set the ordinary people up to fail. So, how do they do that? Well, it all boils down to ease of duplication. Now, this is the premise that network marketing is built on. The real long term residual money in MLM comes from you getting a lot of people to do very simple things. And until Valentus came along, things were not so simple for most ordinary people to do, and in most cases involved them being well out of their comfort zones. In almost all other network marketing companies I've seen over the past 26 years, you must firstly try to convince, sell, and persuade a person to join your program. Secondly, you must convince a person to use the product because they cannot see or feel an immediate effect themselves, and then convince them to make room in their budget for this new expense. And then thirdly, you've got to turn around and train others to convince, persuade, and sell. And we all know how well that usually works, and it's not well at all. Um, so, the constant need to convince, persuade, and sell opens you up to rejection. And, myself included, most people cannot stand to be rejected and therefore do not like to sell and definitely do not consider it a simple thing to do. So, if MLM duplication is defined as getting a lot of people to do very simple things, then by definition, 99% of MLM companies fail at this. So, why do I think and believe that Valentus is totally different? Well, firstly, Valentus has products you can truly believe in. In fact, the coffee is so powerful that the company actually encourages you to give out samples. Now, samples don't lie. They either work or they don't. And I think it's an incredibly brave thing of a company to encourage this behavior because they could just as easily go under if the samples don't do what they say they're going to do. But this is not the case with Valentus. With most MLM nutritional products, you must go on faith and just believe they work because you cannot see them or feel them working for you. You have to believe in the science that they tell you or the official story. And then, you've got to get your people to believe that and then them to explain and to sell the same story and explain the same science. And this is where duplication starts to break down very quickly. It means that you have to work so much harder to sell the benefits and explain the products. Now, as we discussed before, most people hate selling, including myself, and they can't stand explaining things. Therefore, this activity is very, very tough to duplicate. Secondly, the Valentus Slim Roast is a transfer sale. Most people drink coffee, most people understand coffee, and most people spend money on coffee already. It is a totally familiar product and most likely habitual in most households. I mean, if you go into a friend's house and you bang around the kitchen for more than 3 minutes, you're going to find coffee mugs and you're going to find coffee somewhere. It's part of our daily fabric of life. It's nothing new. There's no explanation needed. I personally, in my own experience, I never explain Valentus products. My explanation is here's a sample. Try it. It's all natural, it's non-GMO, and it's not riddled with pesticide. That's about the extent of my explanation for the product. So instead of drinking coffee that is genetically modified and has pesticide residue on it, we're asking that our prospects try a free sample of a non-GMO, pesticide-free coffee that helps them to burn fat, it helps them diminish their appetite and their cravings, and on top of that, it elevates their mood. Thirdly, we're not asking people to change existing habits or existing lifestyle. They just drink the coffee and go about their life as normal. You see, anything that requires a prospect to change their habits or exert willpower is very tough sledding to sell. They might join it on the initial hype, but when they don't see or feel results, you can be pretty sure that as soon as they hit tough times, they're gonna go off the order ship and they're gonna stop ordering. Okay, with the Valentus product, you know as well as I do, when you go off the coffee, you know you're off it. So instead with Valentus, we capitalize on an existing habit or addiction in many people, and that's coffee drinking. And having coffee, as I said before, with someone is part of the fabric of everyday society. We go on dates, at cafes. We invite a friend over to discuss their woes over coffee. We have coffee afternoons to discuss business with people. Coffee is part of our life. Now, the second thing is about Valentus is that with the coffee is that zero dieting or willpower is required. The coffee naturally reduces your appetite and cravings, so you don't want to eat as much. You don't want to consume as many calories. And on top of that, it also blocks sugar and carbs that typically turn into fat. Fourthly, giving out free samples and following up is simple and it is duplicable. When you are interacting with a prospect, they look at the business, they look at the products, they look at the comp plan and all that good stuff. But more than that, they look at how you presented the business to them and ask themselves in their mind, could I do this? And if they answer no to this question, then they will not join. Or if they do, it'll be very short-lived and they'll quit soon. With Valentus, your prospects are seeing you hand out free samples. This is how you present the business. I think a kid could do that. And I believe that more than any other network marketing company out there, a prospect can look at the way we do the business. They can ask themselves, could I do this? And the answer they're going to give themselves is yes. Fifthly, the actual product is sold in sample sizes, further making the business very simple to promote. Now, I think this is pure genius, and I talk about it to my friends all the time. And what's powerful is that, another thing that's powerful for me is that in the eyes of the tax office, whether it be the IRS or whatever country you're in, our products can honestly be classified as business expenses because we're leveraging them as samples to gain new customers and sales reps. Also, the product we give out as samples is the product we want people to consume. It's not some bait and switch or some temporary gimmick product to lure people in to buy more expensive products. The sample is the product. There's no, we're not doing anything nasty or weaselly or slimy or sleazy. And for me, that is one of my core values, and that's something that really drew me into Valentus. Number 6. The Valentus is the fastest growing network marketing company in the US. It's debt-free, and the man behind it has a proven track record of many successes under his belt. Now, being the fastest growing network marketing company, what does it say to us? By default, more people are joining, more products are being sold. Therefore, that has to come down to ease of duplication. Now, the guy behind the company is a man called Dave Jordan, and he's one of those very rare CEOs that has been in the trenches and built multiple massive downlines in different companies himself, as well as having his own multi-million-dollar sports memorabilia business and a ton of eBay auctions and being an eBay power seller in the Midwest where he's from. Now, Dave, after being burned in at least 3 network marketing companies, he decided to take those harsh lessons and build his own. And I believe that most reps truly feel this as well, that Dave and the company truly has the backs of its distributors. The 7th thing is timing and market size. Now, immediate impact products like Slim Roast Coffee that can be handed out via samples only appear maybe once every 10 to 20 years in the industry. And currently, nobody else in the marketplace has such a product. There are other sample products out there, but none that they are the actual product. The other company that I'm referring to, it's a product that has an instant impact, but it's very short-lived, and you wouldn't want somebody using that every single day. It's like a lure type product, whereas our products are the products. Our samples are the products. Okay, and despite being debt-free and the fastest growing company, Valentus is only about 2 years old and virtually unknown. I've never heard. I'm by the nature of my business, I get pitched on everything known to man, and I didn't even know about Valentus. And so all of you who are watching this video truly are on the ground floor. And then lastly, coffee and weight loss are 2 massive markets that just are not going to go away. People are not getting slimmer. More and more Starbucks are opening up. In fact, here in Japan, I'm seeing McDonald's closing down and the building is being replaced by Starbucks. That is how pervasive this coffee culture is becoming. And we've got the only truly effective product that addresses both markets. And lastly, I want to talk about an extremely generous compensation plan. Now, I know that every single company on earth says that theirs is extremely generous, and I'll give them that. I mean, I'm not saying anything new here. The point, the reason why I put this point last is that I believe, without all the other points that I mentioned in place, that the compensation plan really is irrelevant because, it's part of my values that the product has to work. And I think a lot of other companies, product is perhaps an afterthought. It's there to legitimize the compensation part of the company. And that saddens me. And that's one of the reasons why I've stayed away from network marketing so long. And most other companies do not lead with the product. They lead with the company, and then offering the product to a person is the fallback position. Not with Valentus. We lead the charge with the product. And then bringing a person into the business is it comes from the activity of sharing the product. For me, this is totally powerful stuff, and it's in sync with my values. So the moving on about the Valentus compensation plan is very generous up front, and also has a very generous long-term residual aspect to it. One of the things that really struck me powerfully was that it also does not have the usual weasel clauses to cut you out of making the bigger commissions. A lot of other companies, when you dig deep into the fine print, there's so many conditions and hoops and things that you have to abide by to get the bigger commissions. And they're solely put there so that more money flows into the company coffers and less flows into the pockets of the reps actually making the sales. And for me, that just it doesn't cut it, But Dave and the company of Valentus don't do that. And it's very, very refreshing for me. And finally, on this note, a truly unique feature with the Valentus comp plan is that you could literally only sponsor one or two big players, if you're really fortunate, and be totally hopeless yourself and never sponsor another soul. But you have the potential to earn up to 53% of their team's sales production down 5 generations. Now, a lot of other companies, they will put in a clause that bars this from happening. But Dave, I believe, sees it differently. For example, let's say that I brought in a big hitter, and this big hitter went crazy and brought in, a couple of $1 million worth of production. He never would have done it if I had not introduced him. That volume would never have existed for Valentus. And so Dave recognizes that, and he pays me, in like for introducing this person, and therefore all that sales volume. And I truly think that's a fantastic thing. So anyway, that's my little spiel there. This is the reason that why Valentus pulled me out of a 26-year retirement from MLM, and I hope you got value from it. If you have any questions at all, or you'd like to talk about this more, you can find me on Facebook, or if you're in the back office of Social Lead Ninja, you can hit my team up via support tickets. Thanks very much.